great you could all be here, and I'm going to pass you over now to Ben from AppsFlyer for this wonderful panel. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you, James. Welcome, everyone. This is an honor to be the first panel today with the wonderful panelists, as you can see. And I'm Ben from AppsFlyer, as James said. I'm the managing director of Central Europe for AppsFlyer here in Berlin. And today, because this has been, as you probably all agree, a rather eventful year, unexpected year, we want to start and kick off with something a bit broader, hopefully inspiring. Hopefully we will learn something. And so I'm going to hand over to ladies first. Jessica, please introduce yourself. And then maybe you can start off by telling us something about resilience in 2020 and how you managed this year.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. First of all, so weird that I don't have the audience in front of me, but it's still a good audience, the people in this panel. Yeah, so I'm Jessica, and I'm the Director of Performance Marketing and Growth at Blinkist. Blinkist is a mobile app that inspires people to keep learning. We take all the best no-fiction books and podcasts out there and concentrate them in 15 minutes so you can read or listen to. And what I do there is that I take care of acquisition through all channels, online and offline, but I also oversee growth between product, CRM, brand, and marketing as well. And yeah, well, it's been a crazy year to say, you know, challenging. Every year is challenging, especially when you work in a startup. You always have to bring higher numbers and higher growth. And I remember, to be honest, I think it's all my fault because we had a great January. And I remember me buying Prosecco for the team and celebrating and say, usually when January is great, the entire year is great. So I was like, nothing can stop us. And then this happened. So I think it was me. But yeah, I think this year I've learned so much because I think what happened was so unexpected and it had so much impact in the business, but not only in the business, in our life as well. Like suddenly we had to learn to work from home, to not see your colleagues, to work with numbers that were ridiculous in terms of engagement or crazy CPM or like super low conversion rate. And so for me, I learned that actually sometimes there's a way to not waste a crisis and you can learn from a crisis. So what we realized at Blinkist is that we were able to turn around things and even make some maybe small win, change the way we work, and maybe find out that we were not so efficient before, or maybe there was a new way, something that we never seen before. And even like now we started to work on the future. And what we learned this year is actually incorporating in our vision for the future. So that's for me, you know, the learning that I had this year, that although times were really rough, resilience was really like one of the most important thing to have. And we really incorporated everything that we learned. And now we feel stronger than we were before.
That's amazing. I love that. Never waste a crisis. Tim, do you want to jump on the back of that and show us what you've learned maybe in this crisis?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Timothy, and I'm the VP of Digital Marketing at Clark. Clark is an insurance manager application, both mobile and web-based, which helps you centralize, digitalize, and optimize your insurance life and insurance portfolio. I think in terms of resilience and the learnings and the takeaways, I'm not sure if I'm going to be prepared for the next big crisis or pandemic, whenever it is, 10 or 15 years away. I think it'll be slightly different. So, but definitely what I've understood is more personally about work-life balance, and I think that's where we can also leverage the learnings. Is it's now going to be something, you know, my home office setup, although being a child's room is I like my setup a lot. So, and it's also about managing that mental aspect. No doubt in the beginning, I was not adapting very well in switching off and learning how to sort of disconnect from work. And that's something that I've learned to do since the summer. So that's something that no doubt will be a skill that I can leverage, and it's made me more resilient and more impactful and effective at work. So that's my biggest takeaway for the year, and I'm really excited because I'm also excited to do home office a lot next year as well. So I'm happy about those learnings because it keeps me a bit more under control, I would say, in terms of my mental state.
Okay, that's awesome. And when you say next year you will be doing that more as well, is that now a company policy change? Are you just doing that for yourself? Can you go into?
No, the company's definitely shifted policies. Not to anything extreme, of course. When we can all go back safely to the office, we will go back and spend more time there. But there's absolutely, of course, no doubt that we'll have a bit more time at home than we definitely did in 2019, whatever the situation is. So it's about being ready for that, and it's something that I've started appreciating a bit more quality time in terms of efficiency at work and quality time at home is. I think the balance is really good right now.
Awesome. Mircea, over to you.
Thanks, Ben. Hi, everyone. Really happy to be here. My name is Mircea, and I lead the app mission team at Get Your Guide, working also like at the intersection between acquisition, engagement, and product, and overseeing every step of the funnel. For the ones that are not familiar with us, Get Your Guide is a travel marketplace with about 600 million in funding, and we're the European leader in the tours and activity sector. Obviously, a very interesting industry to be in right now, as it has been one of the hardest hit by COVID. And I think it has been a really important lesson for us, both professionally and personally, that things can change from one day to another. And it's always important to, be calm in the storm. It really has been a storm over the past couple of months, since we didn't only have to go from being in the office together with a great team to being remote, but also to deal with very depressed revenue levels. We went from a hyper growth mode to having a 95% decrease in the next month, and that was very difficult and tough to communicate to everyone, and it required a solid plan from our executive team on how we will emerge out of this crisis, no matter how long it will take. And obviously, everyone joined the company with different expectations, and it was very important to be mindful of what's coming next. And I think one of the biggest learnings for us was to remember what's really important. So I think all of us joined the company because we think that our product directly and indirectly helps people experience the world, helps them travel. We contribute to the mental and physical well-being, and that's our purpose and our mission, to offer the world incredible experiences. And once we will emerge out of this, I think it's an opportunity for us also, as Jessica mentioned, seeing the opportunity in crisis to emerge as a more resilient company and redefine the way that our industry works.
Wow, there were a lot of interesting, I would say, words that you dropped in there. You mentioned depression of revenue, which is I think can be and then beautifully translate to potentially mental state and how people were feeling around that time. And I would love you to unpack that a bit more and tell us what maybe specifically from you, and then maybe generally, how can we get some of that I would say change of mindset and turn something that is potentially depressing into something that is more uplifting and forward-looking.
Sure. So I think everyone has their own path to resilience, so to speak, but I think what's the key message is to have the courage to be vulnerable, because obviously coming out here and saying that we had such a big drop is it seemed taboo like some time ago. So I think it's about embracing the situation. And I think what really helped us as a company is a few key things that we've implemented to ensure we constantly look after what are our difficulties, what are our the areas that are working well and we're thriving. And I can name here three things that helped us a lot. The first one are the bi-weekly anonymous checkings that we've implemented in the beginning of the pandemic. For example, it gave everyone a good framework to express their difficulties. How is remote work going? How are they dealing with the whole situation? And also highlight the things that are working well for them. So it enables us, for example, to decide the next year if we will keep remote work as an option or not. And the second one, which personally it was key for me, like in all our weekly meetings, we started them with highlights from our personal life. And in the lockdown, where you could only be inside, and I was in a 25 square meter apartment because I prefer to live very close to the office, that helped us a lot to be more connected to each other as a team. And it also allowed everyone to to understand each other and get closer. And the third thing is something that we've actually implemented 2 weeks ago, and I'm very excited about, and it's a mentorship program. So we wanted our employees to have access to the executive team in order to develop better their professional and personal careers. And it's been like a big, massive positive feedback from everyone. And I recommend this to all the companies basically that are listening this this talk at the moment. It's been really helpful for us.
That's great, and I think we could probably talk about this for hours. And you say so. The third one, which is the executive mentorship, is your biggest for you personally or as a company made the biggest impact.
It's a new one. It's a pilot thing that we're trying now, but everyone was very excited because we're a massive company. We're 600 employees. Everyone has different silos, and getting access to directly to the vision and the strategy of our company, and also understanding how the company was founded and the values made us very excited about the future. So I think it's really helpful.
Great.
I'm taking notes. That's amazing, actually.
Yes, very good. And just for clarity, anonymous check-ins, your first point, that is done via an anonymous survey, email, or?
Yeah, we are using Peakon as a tool.
Okay, cool, great. Tim, do you wanna maybe add to that? Is there anything that sparked your interest or reminds you of something that you implemented?
I have to be honest, we weren't so innovative in change, to be really honest. We were sort of keeping up and having trouble keeping up with the change. I think what's happening over there at Get Your Guide sounds really awesome. And yeah, as Jessica said, taking notes for sure and trying to sort of copy a few ideas potentially that could work. But we to be very transparent, we had to keep up, and we've been chasing our tails since the beginning of the year anyway. So we didn't really have much time to stop and breathe and change. We had to adapt. And I mean, I suppose our silver lining was, that we weren't impacted very much. That depression of revenue wasn't something that really was, we didn't have such a great impact as Get Your Guide did. So it was I suppose our silver lining in in it is that, again, that same to my first point, we've now proven to ourselves that we can be more remotely, as every company has, of course, and that was our achievement, in my opinion, and we've done it quite well, not as well as others, not so bad as others either, but I think we've just sort of done it and adapted and are now moving on to the next step, because it's it's the new normal. So we're now making those, but nothing big that I can't compare myself to Get Your Guide. I have to be honest.
I believe that it's exactly as you say. I mean, you have different businesses and different problems, and essentially, unfortunately or fortunately, as it might turn out, to Get Your Guide, they were forced to make dramatic changes, and given that you were potentially in one of the winners of this crisis, I think there's just a different problem set.
Totally.
So don't feel bad is what I'm trying to say.
I can also jump on the topic. In our case, I mean, it's probably a mix between the two, in the sense that it's been a learning path for us. But first of all, it's been pretty bad. It hit us pretty bad because, as I said before, we saw lower numbers both in engagement and in the acquisition side. And although a lot of people may think that Blinkist would be perfect because still is about learning, and there was actually a lot of increasing and using learning products, we are also really strong on the commute case, and people were not commuting anymore. So we kind of lost our main use case. So that was a wake-up call for us, that we really need to do more to create other use cases. And it's been tough because at the same time we were super stressed because we had to find a new way to advertise, to engage with people. On the other end, we had to start working from home, and that meant new dynamic. And I think we were good and bad at the same time on the reaction to this. I think at the beginning, we took it really seriously because we saw that some people were really good on working from home, others struggled a bit. In my case, I actually liked it. I think I was working a bit too much at the beginning, similar to Tim, and then I learned how to separate the work and private life. But I remember, for example, at the beginning, every day, so we had, like, when you are in the office, you walk in, you say hi, and usually you say something, you talk about your life or whatever. So what we did every day at the beginning, I think for the first 1 or 2 months, is that one of us was asking a question, and it could be something like, what did you cook yesterday night, to like, what's your biggest, I don't know, dream, or tell me one time where you, I don't know, fucked it up or whatever. So it was really a nice way to start the day, and that's to have that, like, informal chit chat that you normally have. Then I think we stopped doing that because it was a little bit too much. And also, that's the thing, you're so stressed, you have so much to do, so you're like, okay, I need to work. Then we took a step back again. We started to have like a similar to Mircea, the random check-in, so just in pair. But yeah, I think, to be honest, I think we really underestimated the fact that we're not present in the same room. And for example, we haven't done I'm talking between my team, the performance marketing team, we haven't done like actually we did a team event during the summer. We were lucky enough, so we had enough time and we just came all together. But beside that, we didn't do it. And so actually we scheduled a workshop tomorrow where we're going to do a remote team event. We're going to have games, we're going to have workshops. So I think it's easy to forget how important the things are. You need to keep up this like way of talking, collaborating, exchanging, maybe making jokes to keep the morale up, because I have to say, yeah, it's really tough. At the same time, we also have a lot of people leaving, because we had a lot of people that were there for 4 or 5 years, and it's just normal. There's like a normal turnover. So yeah, it's just like you really need to take care of the morale of the culture. And yeah, I think it's really tough when you're also, living a crisis and you need to push up the numbers.
Yeah. Okay. So you brought something up by people leaving, and that made me think of people joining, and fortunately for us at AppsFlyer, we are in a position that we're growing quite dramatically still, and into next year we're looking at bringing on hundreds of people, and and this is a massive challenge, I believe, in this day and age. How do you onboard people that you've never seen in person, and how do you ensure that they have that knowledge transfer happens? And so we're in the process of figuring that out. But maybe we can learn from you guys if you have any pointers, if you've had any experience with it. And then, yeah, I would love to hear who wants to jump in.
I can continue if you want really quickly. I think for us, it was like learning by doing. Like, I think we just didn't expect it. In March, suddenly lockdown, and we had actually a person in our team, Anna, who was onboarded, and we just didn't expect it. So we did the interview in person, but then when she started, there was no office. So she had to pick up the computer at our office. And I think at that time, we were so confused. We were like, we didn't know exactly what to do until actually, I think after 2 weeks, she told us like, hi, can we please have a lunch remote all together so that I can see your faces? Because we realized that we didn't think about we actually have a welcome lunch in the office, but we just didn't think about it. And she has never seen our faces. She never had like an informal chat with us, except with the people that she had a one-on-one with. And I think, yeah, we just learned while we were doing that. Right now, we try to have different kind of policies. To be honest, even the interview process changed completely. For example, before we had the day of Blinkist where the people were coming in, flying from another country if they had to. And right now it's remote. And 1 year ago, I don't know, I would have felt so weird hiring someone without being in the same room, without experiencing the person. It's just different. And I think now we learned to make it work, but you definitely need to have different policies and processes in place so that you can, even get to know the person. Again, I think it's so important because in the onboarding, normally it's all about like, getting to know about this topic and this topic, access to this tool. But what about the informal knowing? The going to the kitchen and talking with a random person. That's something that we need to take in consideration while building these new crazy processes. But curious to hear about the others as well.
Yeah,
happy to jump in as well quickly. We have the same approach. Hang on, can everyone still hear me?
Yes.
Cool. Sorry, I thought something happened. Yeah, we have the same approach. I am a bit more old school though. As soon as I can ask someone to come into the office, we try and sort of get in there once every 2 weeks or something like that, just to have that connection, and because it really helps. So the same as everyone else, we do it remotely, and yeah, we've started those. It's like Jessica said, those organic coffee chats is what I miss the most, and so now I'm sort of forcing them, and instead of just a one-on-one and you can talk about things with a coffee in the kitchen or something like that. It's those 15-minute check-ins that I make sure are happening and more forced, and then they become that coffee chat, and then they can go in any direction, and you don't really put an agenda in for them, and so people can sort of say what they wanted to say and those kind of things. But yeah, I'm still definitely old school. I like to see people and see the team because it does add, and when it happens, you leave works full of energy and motivated until you see those people again. So whenever we have the chance, and at the moment, because it's still not against any laws to go into an office and be respectful of the rules, we do it once every week or 2 weeks. So not overdoing it. Of course, we don't want to add to the issues, but that's my approach to it. It's a balance.
Yeah.
I agree actually, and I forgot to say that. I mean, I'm the same, so I'm old school as well. I love the human contact. We're not going to the office right now because it still feels, I don't know, weird. But what I do, I have a dog, so I do a lot of walks, and my favorite things now are walking one-on-one. So you like meet someone outside, so you respect distance, and you actually, I did it. My lead is actually living, I don't know, 5 minutes from me, and so we try to meet in person. And actually was like so refreshing. And I met a lot of people in these 6 months, like different people in the company. And yeah, I still have a good excuse, the dog. But that's actually a really, really nice way to keep the contact.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember at the beginning of the year telling the team that there's no replacement, there's no substitute for face-to-face interaction, and that we need to get out there more. And then my plans were destroyed. But I'm a strong believer in that, and so I find, I mean, what Tim mentioned, like scheduling 15 minutes calls, you just don't get to that point, because really the value I find in these face-to-face interactions is after the agenda has been set and after the meeting is over. The in the doorway or in the hallway or just going from one place to the other, where these gems are, and I think that is absolutely missing. Mirza, please.
Yeah, like I definitely want to bring my dog to Berlin now after hearing the success that Jessica has. Yeah, like obviously we didn't have as many new people joining in, but it has been pretty tough for us as well, and we are trying to sync as Tim also mentioned that some people would come and synchronize going to the office the same day in the summer when this was possible. But yeah, otherwise, it's something that I definitely am on the lookout for new solutions to improve the process. We have like an onboarding, but with Zoom, everything feels very transactional when it comes to each interaction. So random coffee chats are definitely the way to go.
Cool. We have a question from the audience, and this is, I think we're running out of time, so I'll ask this, and then maybe this will end this panel in a very positive way. What did managers do to keep their own skills relevant and fresh? Do you have anything?
Wow, that's big. I think for me, so first of all, but if I look at myself as a manager, what I did is like talking with a lot of people. Like I reach out to everyone that were like in a similar position or in a higher position than mine, just to learn what they were experiencing, and different businesses as well. People like, you know, maybe businesses that were struggling, business that were actually flourishing, nourishing, and it was really good for me to keep learning and hear what the others were doing. It was really crucial. And at the same time, I think what we did as managers at Blinkist, and we tried to be a little bit more involved. Like, you know, especially, I mean, Blinkist has grown, I think 50% in terms of like headcount between 1 year and the other. So as you can imagine, that means like a lot of processes. And that means that we're pretty slow when it comes to change. And so I think the management team was much more involved, much more on the ground, much more hands-on, helping, supporting, driving changes. So that was the main difference in how we keep up with the challenge.
Cool.
Yeah, to quickly follow on and not to take more than 1 minute. I think that was my thing that was lacking this year. I definitely didn't make the time to add to my skill set as much as what I would have liked, and something that I think I have to carve out more time for next year. Again, it was a good problem to have, not having that time. But I think there's still some skill sets we can take away from the year that will definitely be more and more relevant as time goes on, which is managing people remotely. But yeah, I definitely missed that events and those kind of things is what I miss the most, and that's something that I hope improves next year to have those crossovers and that knowledge sharing, and yeah. But to be again honest, it was something that I didn't work on as much as I should have in 2020.
For me, definitely was Blinkist. I think I got 200 blinks on management books during this time. So cool stuff there. I recommend checking it out.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Exactly. I was going to say
a nice little plug for Blinkist to end the whole discussion.
Exactly. I love it.
Well played. Well played.
Nice.
And James is back on stage. I guess you're telling us we're done for today. You're muted though.
Okay, right. Thanks guys. It's really great discussion. It's a sad thing, but I often get a better conversation online than when you're all sitting on stage. with on the big sofas, in front of people. So there's lots of insights there. I don't know if Sylvain's doing his Growth Gems newsletter that he does, but there's plenty there. I was busy scribbling notes and really appreciate how sort of honest everyone was. And there's a lot of good conversation going on, sparked by what you're saying in the chat. So maybe you guys can head over to Swapcard afterwards and just join in there. But yeah, just want to thank you all for taking part, and thanks Ben for such brilliant moderation.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Have a nice day.
Have a great
Bye.
day, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.